Hello, we're on Proverbs chapter 1 and it's passage 3 and it's called Wisdom's Warning. Wisdom praises are sung in the streets and celebrated far and wide, yet wisdom's song is not always heard in the higher halls of learning, but in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Its lyrics can always be heard above the ding of the crowd, and you will hear wisdom's warning as she preaches courageously to those who stop and listen. Foolish ones, how much longer will you cling to your deception? How much longer will you mock wisdom? Your cynical scorners who fight the facts, come back to your senses and be restored to reality. Don't even think about refusing my rebuke. Don't you know that I'm ready to pour out my spirit of wisdom upon you and bring you to the revelation of my words that will make your heart wise? I've called to you over and over and you still refuse to come to me. I've pleaded with you again and again, yet you've turned a deaf ear to my voice. Because you have laughed at my counsel and that you have insisted on continuing in your stubbornness, I will laugh at your calamity when it comes. And I will turn away from you at the time of your disaster. Make a joke of my advice, will you? Then I'll make a joke out of you. And when the storm clouds of terror gather over your head, when dread and distress consume you and your catastrophe comes like a hurricane, you will cry out to me, but I won't answer. Then it will be too late to expect my help. When desperation drives you to search for me, I will be nowhere to be found. Because you have turned up your nose at me and closed your eyes to the facts and refused to worship me in awe, because you've scoffed at my wise counsel and laughed at my correction, now you will eat the bitter fruit of your own ways. You made your own bed, now you have to lie in it. So how do you like that? Like an idiot, you've turned away from me and chosen destruction instead. Your self-satisfied smugness will kill you, but the one who always listens to me will live undisturbed in a heavenly peace. Free from fear, confident and courageous, that one will rest unafraid and sheltered from the storms of life. So I'm going to work backwards on this, and let's just take this last verse. It starts with, but the one who always listens to me will live undisturbed and in a heavenly peace, free from fear, confident and courageous. That one will rest unafraid and sheltered from the storms of life. So you are sheltered from the storms of life. The storms of life still come. The rain still comes, but you are sheltered. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that these things won't come. It means you are sheltered. The other thing I'd like to point out is that when you cry out for me, but I won't answer. So he's very clear about why he's not going to answer. He says, because you've made fun of me, my counsel, you've ignored me, and you've made a joke of my advice. So he's going to make a joke out of you. And so when the storm clouds of terror gather over your head, and that is a definite, it's not if they do, it's when the storm clouds of terror gather over your head, when dread and distress consume you and your catastrophe comes like a hurricane, you will cry out to me, oh God, help, Jesus, help. But I won't answer. And then it will be too late to expect my help. When desperation drives you to search for me, I will be nowhere to be found, because you have turned up your nose at me and closed your eyes to the facts. So this is Proverbs, and it was written, it's part of the Old Testament. So this is before Jesus came. Because it actually says in the New Testament, if you cry out to me, knock and I shall answer. Keep knocking until I do answer. I think this is when the Lord has come to people over and 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 over again, and he finally decides to shut the ark door. That's when it is. But it'll be in the time of you really needing him and in great distress. So I've finished reading that, and that is the end of chapter 1. So tomorrow we have chapter 2, and we're starting with searching for wisdom.